Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today we're going to be going over support and resistance lines. This is going to be the first thing that you want to learn how to do before you start trading. So whether you're a beginner trader and you want to learn how to trade, this is probably going to be the first step that you want to take. Or you already been trading but you want to fine-tune your trading and become a better trader. I also noticed that a lot of other traders that are already making support and resistance lines, they make too many of them. So it gets sloppy and then you get mixed signals and stuff like that. So we're going to come up with a clear way to make support and resistance lines. And if you like this channel, please subscribe, hit the like button, and we're going to be doing a full course on how to day trade, how to swing trade. And we're just going to give a bunch of good information and what works and everything. So let's jump right into it. All right, so here we go. First thing you want to know is support and resistance levels are important points in time where the forces of supply and demand meet. These support and resistance levels are seen by technical analysis as crucial when determining market psychology and supply and demand. When these support or resistance levels are broken, the supply and demand forces that created these levels are assumed to have moved, in which case new levels of support and resistance will likely be established. Second, support. Support is the level at which demand is strong enough to support the stock from falling any further. This is where the price drops and approaches the support. Buyers, which are demand, become more inclined to buy, and sellers, supply, become less willing to sell. We're going to get into some examples on the chart later on in this video. All right, and resistance. Resistance is the level at which supply is strong enough to support the stock from moving any higher. The price rises and approaches resistance. Sellers, supply, become more inclined to sell, and buyers, demand, become less willing to buy. We are going to get into some examples on the charts later on in this video. And when resistance levels are broken, the result levels need to come down to that level and turn it into support level, which is called a retest. And this likely happens if the continuation of it keeps going higher. It gets a nice retest and then it keeps continuing to go higher. When support levels are broken, the support level needs to come up to that level and turn it into a resistance level. Another retest. All right. Let's get into the charts. All right, here we go, guys. So right here, I just drew up some charts. These green arrows and levels are gonna be support levels. And then the red ones are gonna be resistance levels. And then the orange ones are gonna be either breakthroughs. And this is on the weekly. I always like to check on the weekly before I start to go from top to bottom down. So weekly, daily, and then the 4 hour. But we'll start here. So here, the green one, support, these are all levels of support. Usually takes about 2 times for, like, say, a trend line or a support level or a resistance level to be confirmed as validated as a level. So you can see that this one right here as support held up quite a bit before it broke through, had the breakdown through, and then came down to the next support. And the reason I got this support is just because I look at historical data and see where the next level could have been. If it broke this level, then I want to see where it's going to go next. And that's exactly what happened here. And say if this level was broken, then I could have put a line here as support and ran it all the way through for my next level. But it looks like actually when this broke out, it flipped it as support, because this was resistance right here, flipped it as support, did its thing, and then came back. We went from where 2017 to 2018 in January or 19, and it actually tested this level again. So whether it's a year or two or a couple years or a week, it could still come down and test that level. So it came down, tested it, and that support level held at about 3,000. And then these orange ones were the breakouts, and it looked like it just broke out and then came up. And the reason I put the resistance levels right over here is because, I could have had one right here. I put one right here, and it came up and it tested it and pushed through. Came back down and it kind of just bounced in between here and then didn't hold. So then it came down, tested it as resistance again, found support right here. Not every line is going to be perfectly lined up to where it is. Sometimes I see some traders, they like to trade in zones, so they could have it kind of like this. And then it's like a zone, so if it comes down to that zone, you can see that, it's creating a pattern off this zone. But let's remove that. And so it finally came down, caught more support, came back up, tested the resistance again, and then broke through, came to the next level, found resistance here, came down. This resistance right here was flipped into support, and then it turned back up and went off to the races. Could have had a line right here, maybe a line right here, but my main line was right here. And actually, when you actually go down to the daily, you'll see that it struggled at that point. When it came up to about $19,000, you could see that historical data from 2017 all the way to 2020, it tested it as resistance, had some problems, and then finally broke through. And then now, we know where Bitcoin's at now, off to the races. But when you come down, you can even make, this is a daily now, it's a little bit more. You can even make support and resistance lines up in here, but it's very respectful with going off the weekly. But let's go and let's dive into another chart. So I'm going to remove all drawings on here, and we're going to go maybe into a stock or something, because I want this type of stuff could be used in whether it's stocks, crypto, or even Forex. So let's look at Tesla. Back in the day, you can see right here, I'm gonna go off a weekly just to see what's going on. You get cleaner charts just to see where it's at. So you could see that there was a support level right in here, held quite nicely, turned that green, had a support, broke through, came back up, support, and then took off. You could say that this was kind of like a resistance spot in here. Looks pretty good. Looks like it kind of ping-ponged back and forth. So, I mean, when you know these lines and why they're so crucial of you learning them and using them and applying them to your trading, is that I'm not gonna buy right here, right? I'm gonna wait for it to see if it breaks through tremendously with good volume or when buyers are stepping in. But instead it just crippled and it came back down to this support, ping pong back and forth, ping pong back and forth, and it finally broke through. And then, so then this could have been another resistance as well. Once this broke through, it kind of held that support for a little bit, and then it broke right back down to this support. Like I said, historical data, always going off of that. And then now this was resistance, and then say this was flipped into support. So let's turn that green. And we finally broke through, and here's just a perfect example of how this resistance right here turned into support right in here. So did its thing, blew through the resistance level, came back down, found support off of it, right? And then continued on up. So you could have had another resistance level right in here somewhere just to see where it was going next. Broke through that, retested it right here, went up, support, and then now we know where Tesla's at. And when you look at what Tesla's doing now, it looks like that, this was the top of Tesla, right? So this was resistance for a while. Even when you go down into the daily, you'll see that that was resistance as well. And it's coming back down. So the resistance was blown through, and then now it's coming back to test the support to see if that holds or not. So let's go down to the daily, see how those look. So I mean, there it is. So it's just like, this was resistance at one point as well, right? And then it flipped to support, kind of fell through, but then it pushed right back on up. You're not buying here, right? You want to buy here. So came back down, boom, could have got in, rode it back up, and like it ping ponged again, and then it finally broke out. And now when you're looking at the bigger picture, now it looks like it's starting to come down here. Could possibly retest this, or this could be some support level right here, or even right here. To see, I mean, and actually hit it perfectly. But we'll see if it doesn't always play out this way, but majority of the time when you know these levels, you're gonna make smarter decisions and get better entries, better buying, and then better selling as well. So I'm gonna show you how I like to mark up my charts. I know in the previous video that it was just about showing like already marked up charts. But first thing I like to do is I like to come into the weekly and see where there is support. So let's mark up Bitcoin as the previously priced targets right now. So we can see just right in here that there's a resistance level and it was flipped into support. Here's another support level that I see that got hit pretty well. And then here's another support level. And then now for the resistance levels, I'll be come into here, turn them into red just so they can be identified as resistance levels. Here's another resistance level. So this is what I like to do right in here. So I got my support and resistance levels on the weekly, because weekly, usually the higher the time frame, the more significant it has as impacting the price. So if it comes down to that level, right, it will find support and then it will continue up. Resistance, it will break through, stuff like that. We'll go to the daily and you'll see that it, actually when you mark them up on the weekly, right, you could see that it comes out perfectly, right? Here's the resistance in 2017. Here it is 2020. We had the resistance, came up, tested it, pushed back down, found resistance again, pushed back down, and then we finally broke up and then didn't even retest it, just continued on up, right? Now we're in price discovery. So, I mean, you're not trying to buy panicking because, you know, you're FOMOing in, trying to figure out, you know, like, damn, I missed the price, you know? So you're gonna wait for it to come down, because everything that goes up must come down, or at least come down and test certain price levels. So that's exactly what happened. So when it came up, you could see that this red one right here could have been support for when it was coming down. Actually got a support, hit a double bottom, and then pushed back up. Blew past the resistance, right? And then continued on up, and then it came up right here, found support. Now we're in that price, we're going up to this resistance. So if we can break this resistance, then we can be in price discovery, or this will fail and it will push back down and it will ping pong back and forth. So hopefully that helped you out and how I like to do it. Actually, you can actually come down to the 4 hour as well, depending on what kind of trader you are. Obviously, if you're trading the daily or the weekly, you're, you know, a longer term trader, or you're trading for a week or two or a month or something. So here's the 4 hour. So, you know, like I said, I like to go from weekly, daily, and then 4 hour. And so you can see that it's even nicer, you know, like we have a support right here, support, and then it finally caught traction, found a little resistance. Like I said, it's not gonna be perfect. So then you can obviously put in some zones, as they say it. And it came to that level, tested it, pushed back down, and then it finally broke through. And then, yeah, so here we go, pushed through, found resistance right here, came to support. So you could have had some levels right in here as well as a support. As it came down, boom, came down, got support. Now it's kind of holding up. Hopefully this same pattern can be pushing Bitcoin up. And so this same thing can happen right in here. And then we can make new all-time highs for Bitcoin. Thanks guys for tuning in to my support and resistance video. I hope this helped you out. It's some really good information. Whether you're a new trader and you're just starting out, this is gonna be a really good video to get you started. And whether if you're already been trading, but you know, like I said, if you're getting sloppy and you're getting mixed signals, really clean up the charts. And I really hope this video helped you out. I'm gonna be coming out with 2 videos a week to really get people started in trading. And like and subscribe. Go ahead and hit that like button, and hope to see you in the next video. Thank you.